श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः Yeah. Anjali, you can unmute yourself. Where is Anjali now? Okay, there she is. Yeah. Yeah. So let us chant from shloka number 4. Sankhya Yogau
Shankayogya
Prithak Balaha
Pitakpalaha
Prabhadantina
Pravidantina
Panditaha
Panditaha
Ekamapyasthitaha
Ekam Apyistataha
Samyak
Samyaga
Ubhayoho
Ubayoho
Vindate Phalam
Vindate Palam
Yat Sankhyayihi
Yat Sanktayihi
Prapyate Sthanam
Prapyate Styanam
Tad Yogairapi
Tad Yogarapi
Gamyate
Gamyate
Ekam Sankhyam
Ekam Santyam
Cha Yogam Cha
Cha Yogam Cha
Pashyati
Yapaschati
Sapashyati
Sapaschati
Sanyasastu
Sanyasastu
Mahabaho
Mahabhavo
Dukkhamaptum
Dukhamaptam
Ayogataha
Ayogataha
Yoga Yukto
Yoga Yukto
Munir Brahma
Munir Brahma
Nachirena
Nachirena
Adgachati
Digachati
Yoga Yukto
Yoga Yukto
Vishuddhatma
Vishuddhatma
Vijitatma
Vijitatma
Jitendriyaha
Jitendriyaha
Sarvabhutatma
Sarvabhutatma
Bhutatma
Bhutatma
Kurvannapi
Kurvanapi
Na lipyate
Na lipyate
Naiva kinchit
Naiva kinchita
Karomiti
Karomiti
Yukto Manyeta
Yukto Manyeta
Tapsvavit
Tattvavite
Pashyan
Pasyan
Srinvan
Privan
Sprishan
Prishan
Jigran
Chikram
Ashnan
Ashnam
Gachan
Gachan
Swapan
Swapan
Shwasan
Swasan
Pralapan
Pralaban
Visrujan
Visrajan
Grinnan
Grahanan
Unmishan
Unmishan
Nimishannapi
Nimishannapi
Indriyani
Indriyani
Indriyartheshu
Indriyateshu
Vartanta iti
Vartanta iti
Dharayan.
Dharayam
Today we'll be doing number 10. Brahmanyadhaya
Brahman Yadhaya
Karmani
Karmani
Sangam Tyaktva
Sangam Tatya
Karoti Yaha
Karotiyaha
Lipyate Nasa
Lipyate Nasa
Papena
Papena
Padmapatram
Padmapatram
Ivambhasa.
Ivambasa
Again, Brahmanyadhaya Karmani
Brahmanyada Karmani
Sangam Tyaktva Karoti Yaha
Sangam Tattva Karotiyaha
Lipyate Nasa Papena
Lipyate Nasa Papena
Padmapatramivambhasa.
Padmapatram Ivambasa.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Thank you. You always make me nervous.
No, you've got the knack of it, I think. Now, yeah. Okay. So we are now in the 5th chapter. For those of us who may have missed some classes. And here the chapter starts with a question from Arjuna. Again, a question that is similar to the question that Arjuna asked in the 3rd chapter. And tell me which is better, Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga? Tell me which is better, Grihastha or Sannyasa? I am ready to take Sannyasa. So which one is better? And tell me in no uncertain terms. That's what he says. Sunischitam, he says. Be very clear, be explicit. It's easy for us to do. When somebody says, do this, and then you understand what is to be done, and then you can say, no, I'm not going to do, or I will do it, or I'll do it my own way. All that you can say. But be clear about what I should do. That is the first step. So, for the next few verses, Krishna was talking about the, he said Karma Yoga is very important. In fact, Karma Yoga is superior. That is the word he used in the second shloka. And then he explained the importance of Karma Yoga through the remaining verses. And in particular, in verse number 6, he said, Sanyasastu Mahabaho Dukkham Aptu Mayogataha. And taking to sannyasa without proper preparation is a cause for dukkham. So cause for a lot of heartache, as they say sometimes. And so sannyasa is to be earned. You can't simply just take on some robes and then call yourself a sannyasi. That won't work. And Puja Swamiji would say sannyasa has to be earned. Okay, that comes to my mind. Then he talks about Kurvan Apina Lipyate, verse number 7. A person, a wise person, because the person understands that Atma to be a non-doer, Akarta, and then therefore Pashyan Srinvan Sprishan Jigran, he elaborates whatever the person does, voluntary actions, involuntary actions, still the person is very clear that Atma is not a doer, but things happen through the body, mind, senses, etc. That clarity is there, and that clarity is what frees the person, completely, regardless of what happens to the body. Okay, that's the key here. And so now the past two shlokas, which is 8 and 9, talked about the jnani, talked about the wise person. So kurvanapina lipyate, and then actions happen. And I am a non-doer, therefore I am unaffected by actions or the results of actions. Okay, that is the thesis of Krishna. And now he is going to talk about Karma Yoga again, elaborate a little bit about Karma Yoga. He's going to talk about, so Brahmanyadhaya Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Karodya. So that Ishwararpana Buddhi is going to come. Brahmani Adhaya Karmani. Karmani, actions, Adhaya, having offered to Brahmani. 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 Brahmani here means not the Brahman, which is the Jagad Adhishthanam. Brahmani here means Saguna Brahman. Saguna Brahman means Ishvaraha. Ishvaraha means Bhagavan. So offering your actions to Bhagavan. Here explicitly he says that. Okay. So we've been talking so much about Ishwararpana Buddhi, etc. But here that Ishwararpanam comes very explicitly. Brahmani Adhaya Karmani. And and then so that Brahmani Adhaya means what? Ishwararpana Buddhi. And then Sangam Tyaktva. How else should I do it? And then Sangam Tyaktva, having offered my actions, then what about my Sangha? My commitment to get certain things, my commitment to accomplish things, and my likes and dislikes, my commitment to fulfill all my likes and dislikes. What is that? He's saying Sangam Tyaktva. You be clear about what you want, but then you give up your dependence on the results, he says. Okay? And so that's the whole journey here in Bhagavad Gita. How can I live without getting what I want? How can I live like that if we say? Well, it's very clear from our analysis of our life that getting whatever I want also I need not be happy. So, and not getting what I want, I need not be unhappy also. This is our experience, correct? Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is building on that. And you can't throw away those data points, as they say. And so, Brahmani Adhaya. How, see, offering, suppose you are going in a bus and then it's crowded and you want to offer a seat to somebody, an elderly person is standing next to you, and you immediately say, oh, no, he or she is 70 plus, I'm only 40 or 30, I can easily stand up. I can stand and go. I don't need to sit. So I know how to offer a seat to a person. That I can know how to offer. And I have offered so many things to many people. I can serve dinner, I can even make dinner, I can offer to make dinner tonight. I can do so many things. So many offerings I know. I can even, in a puja, I know how to offer flowers. I offer so many things to Bhagavan, I can do puja. That also I can understand. But karmani brahmani adhaya. How am I going to do that? Correct? So offer all your actions to Ishvara means what? Okay. Yeah. Not a new concept for us. And so this is why all this Ramayana, Bhagavatam, all these things we need to get exposed. That's why living in India is very important for something like this. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean you can't live outside. But that culture brings you that prasada buddhi and ishwararpana buddhi. Culture, living in the culture itself, without any lecture, people understand that very well. Correct? So the other day I was talking to a lady. There's somebody, a person from a poor family who wanted to go to college. The boy has finished high school. And so they called me up and said, I need to go to college. Now, I am not well versed about colleges in Coimbatore. I know a few names here and there, and but I can't counsel somebody about what to do, etc. I can find out what the person needs, etc. But I can't give proper advice. So I was looking for a person, and our Hemalata ji, through her, I came to know of somebody, and so I spoke to her, and so we got talking. So we were introducing each other, etc. And I was amazed to hear from her. She's a PhD. She did a PhD here, and she said I I got awards and I got a project to do a project in the BARC in Bombay Atomic Energy Commission, and I could have done PhD there, etc. She said I could have I had a chance to go abroad, but my parents did not want me to. And she said that. Then immediately she said, no, but that's how things were supposed to happen to me. So therefore, nothing wrong with that. So she said this and she said this also. So there is no hard feelings. It comes natural. It comes natural. I could sense it. And because I was also a PhD, etc. So there was some commonality. And so that Ishwararpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi just comes along, comes in once you live here, it comes. And so, so exposure to our Puranas. So you listen to Markandeya Purana. Markandeya story, if you listen, if you tell this to a child, the child will be inspired. If you tell the story of Dhruva and this king, Uttanapada, I think his name, he had two wives, Suruchi and Suniti. And you tell the story, this child, and the child will not forget. Dhruva's penance, child will not forget. Young boy went and said, no, my father rejected me. And the son is shocked. Young child, how could the father reject me? And so he decides and he comes crying to the mother, Suniti. And Suniti says, I can't do anything. Only Bhagavan Vishnu can. But Vishnu can help you. And the son takes it seriously. And he said, no, I'm going to worship Vishnu. And then what should I do? Go and start meditating, start chanting. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he goes and then he stands and he chants. That's it. Nothing stops him. He goes on and on and on. So when we hear these stories, we just, this all pervasive Vishnu and Ishvara, how the laws are all operating and how the laws are nothing but Ishvara. That becomes very evident to us. And so the culture and upbringing is very important. And so, therefore, to understand offering of karma to Ishvara, I understand that every law that I know, everything that's operating, every object that I know of in this universe, this entire universe is pervaded by Ishvara. The universe is not created by Ishvara. Initially, I grow up thinking the God created this world, then I have to grow up and say, God created this world and God manifested in this world also. The world is not separate from Bhagavan. Not God is sitting there and he has sent this earth and sent me here. No, not that idea. I grow out of that and begin to see Bhagavan. Otherwise, Vishnu, the word Vishnu itself means all pervasive. The word Vishnu is Sarva Vyapakatvat. I can't say Vishnu and then I say Vishnu, you're out there. It's two conflicting, contradictory statements. So that dharma, so Ramaha Vigrahavan Dharmaha. So when I see dharma as not separate from Rama, then I have no problem. I have no problem following dharma. I may be frustrated about a lot of things in this world, in this life, but I have no problem following dharma. And so once I do that, once I see my actions as dharmic and I dot the i's and cross the t's, then I am in harmony with Ishvara. And Ishvara is going to say later, Dharma Vriddha Kamosmi. So I am the Dharma. I am the Dharma, he says. He didn't say Dharma is my mandate. I demand that all of you should follow Dharma. Otherwise, you will go to hell. He doesn't say that. Our culture will not make that statement. He says, I am Dharma, that's it. And you don't have to come visit me at all. If you are following Dharma, you are in touch with me. You are in tune with me. The signal on your cell phone is full for five bars, And so like that, the way to get 5 bars with me is you follow Dharma. You follow Dharma, that's it. Nothing else. Nothing. That is the recipe. And so Dharma. And Dharma means Swadharma, what I am supposed to do at any given time, at any given place. Everybody has a role to play, and that role comes with a script. And I follow that script. And the script can change based on context. And so I have to adjust based on context. This is my Dharma. And there are, of course, universal dharmas. Samanya dharmas, speak the truth and be compassionate, etc. All this is Samanya dharma, universal values. And then there are specific values specific to our roles, duties specific to our roles, all that I do. And I told you this before, I think. This one company where my father worked, they used to have a tagline. They used to say, work is worship. Work is worship. And that comes from the 18th chapter. Krishna is going to say, we are going to study that. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam. Swakarmana tam abhyarcha. First he introduces, Bhagavan Krishna introduces himself. He says, Yatah pravrittir bhutanam. That from which the entire world has come about. Yena sarvam idam tatam. And that by which the world is pervaded. Okay, Bhagavan created the world, but Bhagavan pervades the world also. Yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarcha. Okay, that is shloka number some 46 or something in the 18th chapter. Okay, if you want to look that up. And swakarmana tam abhyarcha. Hey, abhyarcha, you do puja, you do archana to this Ishvara, to this Bhagavan. How do I do? Swakarmana. That's it. One word he uses. Swakarmana. Do your swakarma, follow your swadharma. That itself is worship. That means you're already in tune, in sync with Ishvara, with this entire cosmos. Then all this Deva Yajna, so all this Yajna that were talked in the previous chapter, everything. Deva Yajna. Okay. Pranayama parayanaha, pane juhvati pranam, all this will come. Correct? All that should come. Yajna becomes straightforward once that vision is there. Okay. So that is that Brahmani Adhaya. That is when I can offer my actions to Bhagavan. I have to change my vision. And Bhagavad Gita helps me with that. And so I can look upon that dharma as a mandate of Ishvara also, as a mandate. Bhagavan asked me to follow dharma. Satyam vada, dharmam chara, swadhyaya, anma pramadaha. They're mandates of Ishvara. Okay. Okay. If I take it like that, it's all right. That's very important. So I do what is to be done because that is what that is what my culture is all about. That is what Bhagavan wants me to do, wants all of us to do. So I take it as a mandate. Or I can say it is more than a mandate. Dharma is Ishvara. How can I flout Dharma? How can I reject? If I flout Dharma, I am rejecting Ishvara. I am rejecting Ishvara. So that vision is also there. And so either way, okay, what happens either way? Lipyate nasa pape. Either way, okay. Padma patram ivambasa. That's what he said. Either way, because either way, I am a bhakta. Okay, I am a bhakta of Ishvara. And later on, Bhakti, Krishna is going to talk about Bhakti also. But Karma Yoga is not possible without any Bhakti. Otherwise, how am I going to see Ishvara as all pervasive and all that? Not possible. Bhakti, only through puja and japa and all the cultural backing we have, we are able to see that it's natural. It becomes natural. It becomes a natural part of us. And so that bhakti is also highlighted here. And lipyate nasa papena. That person. So what do I get out of all this? Not, karma phalam will not stick to me. Why? Because the ragadveshas are under control. I mastered the ragadveshas. Therefore, papena, papa karmana, na lipyate. Na lipyate. Nothing will touch me. There is no papam and punyam for me. Like that, relatively, because karma yogi is being talked about. Like what? Like Padma Patram. Padma Patram. Padma Patram is a lotus leaf. And ambas means water. So that last word, Padma Patram Iva Ambasa. There are three words there. Padma Patram Iva Ambasa. Iva means like, just as water does not stick to the rose or this lotus petal. Water does not stick. So very, very powerful imagery that we have in our culture. And water is very much there. Leaf is very much there. The leaf is very much holding the water. Correct? Pashyan, Shanman, Krishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Swashan. Very much it's all going on. Activity is very much there. The water is happy that I'm able to be there. There are ants. That day in that picture we saw, there are ants drinking that water in that leaf, right? We saw that. There were 6 groups of ants covering the water droplet. And so all that is happening. And the lotus is watching all this. But the lotus is unaffected, neither by the water nor by the ants. Okay. And so, because the ants can eat up the lotus petal, it's possible. Correct? So body is there. Anything can happen to this body. Body is not permanent. And so Padma Patram Ivambasa, like how the water still, even though in contact with the lotus petal, does not wet the petal, does not affect the petal. And that example here Krishna gives. And so Sangam Tyaktva, that is a key word here. Sangam Tyaktva. We see this very often, and Krishna is mentioning that here also. So until now he was talking about a jnani. And here he says Karma Yoga is so important that if with this attitude itself, moksha, it's almost moksha, as Swamiji says, almost moksha. Moksha means Of course, Jnana Yoga gives moksha. Full vision gives you the moksha. But this karma yoga being a preparatory step. So, but Swami Paramarthananda ji says, a jnani, how does a jnani? Earlier in the second chapter, he asked Arjuna asked the question, Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya Keshava. Hey Keshava, tell me, you're talking about this jnani all the time. Jnanam is so important. How will that jnani behave? What will be that person? Ka bhasha, what kind of language will his language change? Will suddenly he becomes an expert in Sanskrit or what? Jnanam, therefore, from tomorrow onwards, it's like only Sanskrit comes in my eye. And then I keep writing all shlokas and this and that. Is that what the person is? Ka bhasha is saying all that. So, no. So Paramathananda says no. Body means body. Body has to follow the same laws that Bhagavan created, has to be followed. No choice. Bhagavan also has no choice. Then what? Pain will be there. And mosquitoes will come. Mosquito will not know who is a jnani, who is not a jnani. So, sorry, that there also there is no problem. At least, so we may be wondering, I want to get moksha, this is great. Finally I came to study Bhagavad Gita. I'll get moksha. Yeah, you can get moksha, but all these problems will not go away. That will still be there. But Padma Patram Ivambasa, remember that. Remember that. So Swamiji talks about how these people who fought for the freedom in India and the British, what they did is they isolated all these leaders, people who have created movements, and they isolated them, put them in a jail, not in India, Andaman and Nicobar Island. Nobody knows where it is also. There they just they made this jail, and then they wanted to really give harsh punishment. The British UK said, no, this is not enough. You need to really give some punishment to these people. And then they built what is called the cellular jail. Cellular jail. Short, just very like a matchbox, some 14 feet by 6 feet or something like that. And then one little window, because some circulation is needed. And I don't know why they don't kill these people off, but some circulation is needed. There is some joy in giving punishment, I think. Just torture. Then some joy must be there. That's why they're not killing all these people. If you don't want these people, just kill them off. Why do you have to torture them? No, third degree torture. And Veer Savarkar and Babarao Savarkar and Batukeshwar, etc. So many people are there, my God. And how they also experience pain. Torture is painful. They say, no, Vande Matara. I will not give up. What gives them the strength not to give up? It's no longer I, me, myself. It's I, India. It's I, my ideology. It's I, my principle. Right? That is what drives these people. And then they are released. Then what? Then they do the same thing. Hey, you will go to jail. So what? Jail is temple for me. And then they continue to do that. Hey, they will torture you. So what? Okay. So what? This journey, this is the journey. If a love for the country itself can make a person like that, just imagine what this will do. That is why Mahatma Gandhi and Veer Savarkar, they studied the Bhagavad Gita. They must have got so much from Krishna and our Upanishads. And so this is how the journey is. Let's look at this shloka. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. Let's translate this. The one who performs actions, yaha karmani karoti. The one who performs actions. So, Anvaya, we are doing an Anvaya now. Giving up attachment. Giving up attachment. Sangam tyaktva. Giving up attachment. How do you give up attachment? We are not attached to anything, really speaking. Nothing is connected. I am not tied to anything. So how there is no attachment at all. So attachment is there here. And so there is raga dvesha. When you say attachment, you have to bring in raga dvesha. So my likes and dislikes. and binding likes and dislikes. That's what should come to your mind when we say give up attachment, comma, offering unto Brahman, literal translation, offering within brackets those actions unto Brahman means unto Ishvaraha within brackets, Saguna Brahman Ishvaraha, offering those actions unto Brahman, comma, is not affected by papam. Pape na saha lipyate. Saha pape na lipyate. Is not affected by papam. Just as the leaf of a lotus, within brackets, does not get wet. Just as the leaf of a lotus does not get wet by water. The one who performs actions, giving up attachment, comma, offering those actions unto Brahman, within brackets Ishvaraha, comma, is not affected by papam, comma, just as the leaf of the lotus does not get wet by water. Okay, let's chant the next one. Yeah, Dr. Ramesh Ji, are you there? Go ahead and unmute yourself. कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या
कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या
केवलैरपि केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि
केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि
योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति
योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये
कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या
कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या
केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि
केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि
योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति
योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये.
Again, a karma yogi continues to be described. Karma yogi, it's all about attitude, right? Karma yoga is not an action. It is not a series of actions. It is not a technique. It is an attitude with which you do whatever you've been doing all along. Correct? Remember that. And it's an attitude. It's the vision which drives you to which is there in and through all the actions you do. Like if you say, I'm a father, I'm a mother. I'm a father, I'm a mother. If somebody says, okay, I gave birth to my children. Sure, that is why you are a father and mother, no doubt. But after giving birth, fatherhood is gone, motherhood is gone. No, not gone. It's very much there. It's there in and through. And just because your children have left home or gone to college, doesn't mean you're no longer a father or a mother. You're still a father and mother. That motherhood is there. That motherhood, fatherhood. Okay, it's always there. It's in and through, and nobody can take it away from you. Correct? And that, like that, karma yoga, that vision is in and through. Whatever you do, karma yoga defines how you do those things and how you accept the results of what you do. And this shloka talks about how a karma yogi performs those actions and the purpose. What does the yogi get out of it? Again, the same thing is said here. Let's see. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalaihi indriyaihi. Okay. Karma kurvanti. Okay, second line. Look at yoginaha karma kurvanti. Karma yoginaha, the karma yogis, karma kurvanti, perform actions. Means lead their life performing actions. How? Kayena manasa buddhya. Kaya means body. So physical limbs, they're all called kaya, part of the kaya. Kaya means body and limbs of the body. And then manasa, with the mind and with the body and with the buddhi, with the intellect. That is how karma yogis do actions. Now, this is a very strange. This is very strange. It's like saying, "Oh, you are a PhD." So PhDs have food with their mouth. So PhDs have food with their mouth means what? As though, what about other people? They are having food through the ears or what? So that becomes the question. So here Krishna is saying, Kayena manasa buddhya yoginaha karma kurvanti. So that is, I don't get anything out of this statement, So, but then, and then indriyaihi api, by their sense organs also. Oh, Krishna, amazing. You said a very, very wise thing. Oh, using their sense organs also. I see. Okay. I get it. And so, but then, kevalaihi, that is the key word there. Kevalaihi. Kevalena kayena, kevalena manasa. Okay. Kevalaya buddhya and kevalaihi indriya. Kevala means what? By this alone, by the body, by the mind, by the senses alone, they do karma. Means what? Means you should go back to sangam tyaktva. Kevalaihi means the body and the mind which is free of the effect of binding likes and dislikes. Correct? Go back to Sangam Tyaktva. Go back to Ragadvesha. Same thing. Not new here. Sangam Tyaktva. Same word. I think the previous shloka also had Sangam Tyaktva. Look at that. Yeah. Brahmani Adaya Karmani Sangam Tyaktva. Same word, same phrase is using here. So Kevalaihi means the using the body, using whatever instruments are given to us to do actions. We can do actions. We are blessed with so many things. We can do whatever we want. And you can change course anytime. You can do, you don't have to do. You can sit quietly and then do nothing also. And you can choose to be happy that way also. All that blessing we have. And so he says, Kevalaihi. Kevalaihi. Only that means let your mind be free from likes and dislikes, free from the effect of likes and dislikes. Okay, mind can never be free from likes and dislikes. But sangam tyaktva, giving up the dependence on the fructification of your likes and dislikes. Correct? Because we don't call all the shots. This is what they say. Correct? We know that. We know that we don't call all the shots. We may be the greatest. We may be the, Nobel Prize winner. We may know lots. A lot of education is there. But I told you that example. Swami gives this example. So the house was being constructed, and so there are laborers, and then this man comes, and he's a professor, of physics, and then. And looking around, went to the second floor, etc. And then they're still constructing the parapet wall. And so it turns out that both the laborer and the professor fell down. Now, both of them are falling down. The professor's knowledge does not save this person. Both of them falling down at 9.8 meters per second square, or 32 feet per second. Okay. And nothing changes. And the physics professor cannot change the laws and cannot prevent himself from falling also. So we don't call all the shots. And therefore, the only way to deal with that is this Sangam Tyaktva. So important it is. Amazing. Every time we see it, it keeps coming back to us. Is it not? And because that is the only way to deal with what's going to happen to you. My attitude is I'm going to prevent all wrong things from happening to me, and I'm going to invite all the great things to happen to me. This is my outlook. This is how all of us lead our life. Nothing wrong with that. But how am I going to deal with uncertainty? Uncertainty is always there. That's where the problem is. And some people have an amazing ability to deal with these things. And they can handle it. Anything that comes, they're ready to accept. See that they're ready to accept. They have the prasada buddhi, and the prasada buddhi is there. I see so many maids and this, the auto rickshaw drivers and this and that. I talk to them constantly, and they are amazing. Whenever they say some of they lead a life without any sense of anxiety. Amazing. Pandemic, business is down, auto rickshaws don't fly, lockdown. People don't have food to eat also. And it's so bad. They're all living hand to mouth. And they just deal with these things. And you don't see them depressed. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying there is no pain and all that. They also have sorrow. They also have stress. But they come out of it. They're never depressed. You will never see them depressed. This depression is there. How it comes? The child is not well, and child has some pain and has to be taken to the doctor. And once the child will cry only when there is physical pain, correct? And as long as the pain is there, it will cry, and then the pain is gone, it will start playing. That's it. And it has no problem whatsoever. But the parent has different concerns and anxieties. Oh, which doctor should I take to? What will happen? What are the side effects of this medicine? What happens? And then how much will it cost me? And then will insurance cover it? All these things going on. Correct? So much anxiety is there. So it is. So we have to. Swamiji keeps saying Vedanta makes a human being simple, makes a human being into a normal human being. That's what Vedanta will do by making the person objective to realities. And so here Kevalaihi means Kevalaihi, and that means Sangam Tyaktva, performs all these actions. So Sangam Tyaktva means with Ishwararpana Buddhi, Brahmani Adhaya, and then Sangam Tyaktva, Phalani Prati Sangam Tyaktva, namely not doing your best and then letting things go and then see what happens. And then if I'm successful, it's great. If I'm not, if it didn't work out, then what to do? That is what is ordained. And with that attitude of prasada buddhi, that is why we have to practice every day. Towards the end of the day, we have to acknowledge everything that has worked out for us. We have to practice it. We have to say, okay, hey Bhagavan, hey Krishna, I thank you for everything that has worked out for me. The day has worked out well. And, you can even list all the things. I had food and the food got digested. There's no rule that the food has to get digested. We know that. We know that very well. And so like this, we can list all these things. We have to remind ourselves constantly. I went out, I came back in one piece. And my friends called me. Amazing. I thank you for that. Like this, every minute of the day, it's a life of just acknowledging our blessings, is it not? So that we have to practice. And when we practice that, then it becomes real. All these things become even more real. And so this is Karma Yogi, obviously. Karma Yogi is being discussed here. And the difference from a Jnani is what? A Jnani obviously has the vision that I am an Akarta. And so the vision is complete. The Karma Yoga has reached its fructification in Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga and then Jnana. Okay. And so my journey is from doing things for my sake to doing things for the sake of Ishvara, means offering to Ishvara, correct? Brahmani Adaya. Why should I offer to Ishvara? Because everything that is there is Ishvara. And I cannot own up stuff. I cannot say this belongs to me, really speaking. Really speaking, I can't say that. Okay, transactionally, we need certain rules. And so I say this belongs to me. But really speaking, I know that everything is one big whole. And I'm part of the whole. And the Shastram says you are part of the whole when you say you are the body, but then you are the whole. You are really the whole. There is no difference between you, Atma, and Brahma, the whole. Okay, that is the vision. And so, Kayena Manasa Buddhya. So, what do they get out of all this? Sangam Tyaktva Atma Shuddhaye Antakarana Shuddhaye. Atma here refers to what? Mind and Buddhi. Antakaranam, correct? Manas Shuddhaye. That Atma is Manas. Antakaranam. They do it for Antakarana Shuddhi. Who are they? Yoginaha. Karma yogis. Atma Shuddhaye. Karma Sangam Tyaktva Kevalaihi Indriyahi Api Kurvanti. Right? So those yogis, karma yogis, lead their life in this fashion. That is what is being said here. And so that they get Antakarana Shuddhi. So we see the word first time it comes here, right? Atma Shuddhi. First time it comes in Bhagavad Gita. Although we've used that word several times in the past. So let's translate the shloka. Giving up Sangha, giving up attachment to binding desires, or giving up binding desires, that also we can say. Giving up attachment, comma, Sangam Tyaktva, in the second line in the middle, Sangam Tyaktva. Karma yogis perform action, Yoginaha karma kurvanti. Second line. Karma yogis perform action purely, kevalaihi, purely, within brackets, you must say, without being impelled by likes and dislikes. Purely means without being impelled by likes and dislikes. Okay, purely with the body, mind, intellect, Kayena Manasa Buddhya, purely with the body, mind, intellect, and also by the senses, Indriyahi Api, and also by the senses, comma, for the purification of the mind. For the purification of the mind. Giving up attachment, karma yogis perform actions purely, within brackets, without being impelled by likes and dislikes, with the body, mind, intellect, and also by the senses, for the purification of the mind. Okay, we have a couple of minutes, so let's chant the next sloka. Satish, go ahead and unmute yourself. Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva.
Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva.
Shantimapnoti naishtikim.
Shantimapnoti naishtikim.
Ayuktah kamakarena.
Ayuktah kamakarena.
Phale sakto nibadhyate.
Phale sakto nibadhyate.
Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva.
Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva.
शान्तिमाप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम्
शान्तिमाप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम्
अयुक्तः कामकारेण
अयुक्तः कामकारेण
फले सक्तो निबध्यते.
फले सक्तो निबध्यते.
Yeah. So here also karma yoga is discussed, and this atma shuddhihi, antakarana shuddhihi, that so-called purification of the mind. So that is elaborated here a little more. So we will see that in the next class. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam lokas samastas sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति शांति शांतिः हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम